Namaste. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Let's make sure we have everything we need for our practice today. Always have available at close at hand something that will help lift the earth, raise the earth towards you so that you can find a foundation or some stability upon which you can place your hand. So sometimes a low footstool, a chair, the end of your sofa or bed, a wall, anything that you can lightly touch with your hands that will give you a little bit of support. Or always also have available a blanket. It's something that we can fold and sit on. It's something we can place underneath our knees, something we can use to cover ourselves up when we feel the chill in our practice. These are really helpful props to have available close at hand. Our practice today, I'm going to focus on the Vishuddha or Vishuddha chakra, the throat chakra. And here at the throat chakra, which is sort of, if we wanted to visualize it, its location on our physical body would be around the larynx. But we tend to think of it as around the throat. So that's kind of, if we wanted to visualize it, it isn't a physical thing. It's in our subtle body, our energy body, beyond the physical. And the throat chakra, or the Vishuddha chakra, or Vishuddha chakra, you'll hear the pronunciation differently depending on which region of India you're from. Means the seat of purity or integrity or authenticity, truth. This is the seat from which we manifest and express our inner truth, our consciousness, our conscious awareness as it rises up. So the energy that we have, this pran shakti, the energy that gives us the life force vitality. It is the essence of who we are, the spark within us, more than the breath. And this energy rises up from the root chakra, passes through all of the chakras, and as it passes through, we begin to manifest and express and develop and balance all of the different qualities that are associated with each chakra. And by the time it arrives at our throat, the Kundalini energy or the Shakti energy, this is where we are able to then give voice to everything that has come before and everything that will come after. The mudra I'm going to invite you to take is Akash mudra. Akash means ether, space. This is the element of ether and space. And the throat chakra, Vishuddha chakra, is associated with this element. So bring the thumb and the middle finger to touch and palms face up. The middle finger represents Akasha, space, ether. And often when we wish to express or manifest, we do that when we have space, when we are held within a space, or when we create a space in which to speak, in which to be heard. This expansiveness of the self, of the voice. Ground down through your sit bones and lengthen through your spine. Take a full breath in. And notice how it passes through the throat. Hold the breath in for a moment and drop the chin towards the throat, holding the breath in, Jalandhar Bandh. This lock at the throat, Jalandhar Bandh. When you can hold the breath in no longer, release the chin, releasing that lock, and take a breath out. Holding the breath out, drop the chin again to your throat. Holding the breath out, engaging this lock, Jalandhar Bandh. This lock helps to, it's almost like the locks on a canal. moving forward energy, pausing in order to create space, in order to fill, and then moving energy forward again or back. This oscillation of energy. When you can hold the breath out no longer, lift your chin and take a breath in. Let's sigh out the breath through open mouth, making a gentle sighing sound. Let's bring your hands together in Namaste at the heart. Press both palms firmly together, all fingers together, pressing against one another. The two halves meeting here in the middle. Opening by chanting Om 3 times. And for Om today, let's think about breaking it down. A, U, M. A, U, M. And then bring the 3 sounds together. And there's a silent pause at the end of it. So there's said to be 4 aspects to Om. A, U, M, and then silence. Inhale fully to prepare. Om. 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 Welcome. Namaste. Assalamu alaikum. Sat Sri Akal, everyone. Welcome to our practice today. So this practice today is we're going to be opening up the throat chakra, the Vishuddha chakra. And when we open up the Vishuddha chakra, which helps us to balance, bringing into integrity all of our dark, innermost, secretive, perhaps oppressive, harmful thoughts and emotions, helping them to rise up, and then releasing those through the intent of lightness, of purity of thought, purity of intention, of compassion, understanding, and empathy. So we don't suppress our darker, more harmful, repetitive, residual emotions and feelings. We allow them to rise up and be expressed in a way that is kind, honest, full of love, understanding, and empathy. And as it passes through and is processed and digested by the throat chakra, this is the work of this chakra. So I'll tell you a story, but before I tell you the story, let's do a little bit of opening and releasing. So we'll start off with some shoulder shrugs. So bring your shoulders up towards your ears, really holding them up here high. And then when you're ready, just drop them gently down. Inhale up towards your ears, shrugging your shoulders. And you can feel this sort of concentration here around the throat, and then shrug them to create space and release. One more time. Inhale to shrug your shoulders up. Exhale to drop them gently. Now let's do shoulder rolls back. You can do one shoulder at a time. Do both shoulders at the time. You can do a variation. So let's roll them back for the moment. Rolling back. And now let's roll them forward. Both at a time, maybe one at a time. It feels quite tricky doing them one at a time. And you might notice one shoulder is able to move with more ease than the other, depending on what's going on for your shoulders. Let's do head tilt. So let's drop the left ear towards the left shoulder. Now you can bring your left hand over towards your right ear to help bring that ear close to the shoulder. You can reach out with your right arm have it at an angle and where it feels heavy. So there'll be an angle at which your arm will feel particularly heavy, and that sensation will feel delicious along the length of your neck and shoulder and arm. One here. Inhale back to center. Let's release the right ear gently towards the right shoulder. And again, you can bring your right hand to your left ear to help that gentle drawing down of the ear towards the shoulder. The left hand can stay where it is with your Akashaya Mudra, or you can reach out. And again, find the angle where you can feel a sense of heaviness, a sense of extension. One more there. Release your head back to neutral. Let's drop the chin in towards the throat. And this here, this lock or this sensation you feel here is often called a Jalandhar Bandh because it creates an energy lock. And it concentrates and focuses the energy there, allowing the prana to do the work it needs to do in this chakra. Lift your chin and let's lift our gaze up towards the sky. So your chin lifts, opens here at the throat. You can create more of an extension here by interlacing all of your fingers and then gently placing your interlaced fingers, your folded hands underneath your chin, and perhaps gently ease the chin up a little bit higher. Feeling a full opening here. Now, if this feels too heavy for your neck to be leaning back at such an angle, then keep a more gentle tilt, or perhaps just come back into neutral. And you can still place your hands under your chin with your neck in neutral, so that the connection of your hands and your chin is made there. And then now let's release the chin back down towards the throat to release the back of the neck. Again, create space there. Semi-roll over to the left, through center, over to the right with your head. Back to center, semi-roll over to the other side. And let's do this semi-roll in both directions 3 times. So one more. Take a moment here. Now, the story I wanted to tell you was the story from the Puranas of the gods, Devas, and Asuras, the demons. So in the great oceans of India, there's many lost treasures and objects of value at the bottom of the ocean. And in particular, the most valuable gift there, most sacred treasure was Amrita. Amrita is the nectar of immortality, of divine wisdom. So the Devas, the gods, and the Asuras, the demons, came together to create a plan in order to churn up the ocean so that all of the treasures on the ocean bed would rise up, swirling up and come to the surface so that they could claim the nectar of immortality, Amrita, or Amrit, you may have known it. So in order to do this, they decided to use Mount Mandara as a stirring stick. They took a mountain as the stirring stick, and they took the serpent, Vasuki. Vasuki is the serpent, and we often think of Vasuki as Kundalini. So the Devas, the gods, took the tail of Vasuki, the Asuras took the head of the Vasuki, the serpent, using it as a rope. And so they stirred up the ocean beds with the mountains and with the serpent. And as they did this in the churning, all of the treasures rose up, including Amrita in a golden vessel. So think here of perhaps of a lotus representing a golden vessel here. And in this bowl was Amrita in this golden vessel. As they were doing this, Vasuki the serpent spat out a deadly poison. Now, this poison is the poison of suffering, of harmfulness, of violence, of conflict, of war. And it would have the capacity to destroy the whole world. But they caught this bowl, the Devas caught this poison in a bowl and didn't know what to do with it, how to get rid of it safely. If they threw it back into the ocean, it would poison the ocean. So they turned to Shiva and asked Shiva for help, who's the most gracious, most generous of deities. And so he drank the poison, but he didn't swallow it. He kept it in his throat, in the Vishuddha chakra. He held the poison here and his throat turned blue. So this is why the color blue is associated with the throat chakra. And instead of swallowing or spitting out the poison, he processed it, he refined it, he purified it with pranayama, with breath, ujjayi breath and Brahmari breath. So the breath, the pranayama purified this. And so this story, what it represents is that all of the harmful, negative, troubling, doubt, suffering that we have, all of our issues, all of our shadows, all of our dark sides, instead of absorbing them deep within and swallowing them and keeping them swallowed, we can begin to work through them, process them, purify them with our practice of yoga, work through them through our practice of yoga. So instead of like letting those rip and hurt others with those, we work with them. We draw in all of the qualities of the Devas. The Devas represents all the qualities of goodness, lightness, understanding, empathy, love. And the Asuras, the demons, represent all of these negative, dark aspects that cause suffering and pain. So this practice of working with the Vishuddha actually is a really healing, restorative practice that allows us to work with our emotions. That's my story. So that you understand why when we practice yoga, when we work with mudra and mantra and asana, we're actually working through these great mythic themes. So now that we've done that, thank you for your patience in listening. I felt it was really important to share that this week in particular. Let's place the right hand on the earth. Inhale, reach up and over with the left arm fingers in your Akashaya Mudra. Our mantra for today is Om Ham Akashaya Namaha. Om Ham. Hum is the bija sound. Akashaya is the element of space. Namaha, invocation. Om Ham Akashaya Namaha. Let's go from side to side. As if we're churning here. Let's sweep forward and around in both directions. Perhaps these movements can be large or more subtle, yogi's choice. Let's just create this churning sense here. One more here. And then let's place the left hand on the outside of the right knee, turn the right hand behind us. And instead of placing it on the earth, let's see if we can wrap it round our lower back. Perhaps we can bring it to the inner thigh here. Gaze over the right shoulder, wherever your hand is. If it, just reach it as far over behind your back towards the left as it can go, to look over your right shoulder, churning here. Inhale, let's go the other way. So again, now you can take the left hand towards the right lower back, the right hip, perhaps bringing it onto your right thigh. In both directions again. You can just flow here from side to side. This is our churning of the ocean. And one more, finishing on the left side. So looking over the left shoulder, right hand on left knee, back to center. Let's tuck in our toes. Now, if you feel comfortable, you can tuck in your toes and sit on your heels. Otherwise, you can sit on a cushion or a blanket and have your toes untucked. Remember, you can place folded blankets underneath the inside of your ankles, underneath your knees, backs and knees. If that still doesn't feel comfortable, you can come onto your seat or sit on a low footstool. Yogi's choice here. Tuck in the toes if that's the option you're going for. That's where I'm going this morning. And now let's interlace all of our fingers and then release the middle finger and bring them together. So it looks a bit like Kallie Mudra, which we often do, but this is Matangi Mudra. Middle fingers are extended. Middle fingers are associated with the Akash element of space and the throat chakra. The throat chakra, bring the hand right in front of the throat chakra. As you inhale, lift your arms overhead. Perhaps you take your gaze up towards the sky. Matangi Mudra here. Exhale, hands come back to your throat. Let's do that 3 times, reaching up. And as you do this, visualize the color blue at the throat. And the symbol or yantra is a circle. So in your mind's eye, visualize a blue circle. Nilakanta. So Nilakanta is Shiva's name because his throat turned blue from the poison. Reaching up and bringing your hands out. Now this time we're going to do a little side bend. Exhale over to the left. Inhale to center, exhale over to the right. Inhale to center. Exhale to bring the hands back down to the throat. One more time for luck. Reaching up, exhale over to the left. I always say for luck, really just for that little extra effort. The one step forward again, over to the right. Inhale back to center, hands back to your throat. Moving directly from here into cat-cow, untuck your toes. Hands on the earth. Spread your fingers wide. Claw through your fingers here. Inhale, lift your tailbones, dip your lower back. Shine your heart. Open your throat by lifting your gaze and chin. Exhale, rounding through your spine. Matsyasana, tuck your chin here. And you'll notice how we come into that Jalandhar lock. The Jalandhar Bandha whenever we tuck our chin in. Inhale to lift your gaze. Exhale to round. And let's begin to introduce Brahmari breath, that honeybee sound, that humming breath. So next time when you tuck your chin here, let's do Brahmari breath. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your nose. We're making a humming sound. Lips are softly touching. Inhale, lift your tailbone. Brahmari breath here. This will feel very different and sound very different. Inhale through your nose. Exhale, Brahmari through your nose. Back to neutral spine here. Big toes touch, knees as wide as your mat. Slide your hands back. Simhasana pranayam. Simhasana, lion's pose, and lion's breath here. Lion's breath is really strongly associated with this pranayam. So your hands can be clawing the earth. Take a moment here. Take a full breath in through your nose. Open your mouth. Make a sound. It's an expulsion of air. You poke out your tongue and open your eyes wide, looking fearsome. Inhale. Exhale, Simhasana pranayam. Inhale. Last time. Bring your hands back towards you. Bring your knees so they're parallel. Untuck your toes. Hands back on the earth. Let's slide our arms forward, coming into melting heart, Anahatasana. Now here, remember, you can always bring your arms closer to your body. You don't need to sink or melt your heart as close to the earth. You can always keep one arm folded and one arm extended, swapping them over halfway. I'll let you know when we're at the halfway point. So if your arms are extended, eyebrow center is on the earth. Chin can be neutral here, or you can lift your chin and have your chin on the earth. This feels more challenging for me personally. But see how this feels for you. Tailbone is if we're halfway, so swap if you're doing half Ardha Anahatasan. Om Ham Akashaya Namaha. Om Ham Akashaya Namaha. Om Ham Akashaya Namaha. I speak with truth. I speak with authenticity, with integrity, with kindness. I listen deeply with compassion and empathy. So remember, I always offer you an alternative. You can say an affirmation or set an intention in your home language. Or you can choose to join me with the Sanskrit mantra. Almost there. Bring your hands by walking them closer to your head. Take a moment here. We're going to move into Ashtanga, 8-limbed pose. So your hands come a bit closer. You might need to readjust them a little bit, actually. Take your knees, elbows a little bit wider. So bring your knees a bit closer. Take your elbows further apart. Keep your tailbone lifted. And then when you're ready, maybe lift your heart a little bit more, bend into your elbows, and then lower your chest into the earth. So I only have my hands on the earth. If it feels easier for you to have your forearms on the earth, have your forearms on the earth. My chin is resting on the earth. My hands are on the earth. My knees are on the earth. My feet are on the earth. So my heart is on the earth. So I have 8 points of connection with the earth here. Ashtangasana. My throat is extended here. Slide your knees away. Lower your tailbone. Press into your hands and lift your heart. Lift your gaze. Lift your crown here. Bhujangasana, press into your big toes. Exhale, lower here. Back to the earth. Take a moment here. Take your arms alongside you. Turn onto your right here. Brahmari breath here. Honeybee breath. Inhale through your nose. Exhale, making that humming sound. And you'll have your lips softly connected, softly parted. So there's a softness to your lips. You're not firmly pressing them together. They're not kind of wide open either. Inhale fully. Turn your head so your left ear is on the mat. And again, let's take a Brahmari breath here. Inhale fully. Back to center with your head. Hands underneath your shoulders, tucking your elbows in. Inhale, rising cobra. Bhujangasana. Relax your shoulders, lift your gaze slightly, and maybe you sway here from side to side. Maybe you circle with your upper body. Bring some movement here. I like to create circles here. And bring your feet up towards the earth. Lower your head for the moment. And then let's reach back with our fingers towards the feet. We're not coming into Dhanurasan just yet. We're reaching back with our hands and arms towards our feet. Our knees are bent. Take a moment here. And then let's release everything back to the earth. Bring your hands underneath your eyebrow center, elbows wide. Matangi, Crocodile Pose. Take a breath here. You can choose to take Brahmari breath here if you wish. Or you can maintain your Ujjayi breath, which is a breath we often use. When I rise up, we'll talk through the Ujjayi breath. Your choice of breath here. Now we're going to move into Dhanurasan Bow Pose. So yogis, you can reach back for one leg, 1 foot, and that might be enough for you for today. So you can always lift your eyebrow center. Yogis, you can reach back for both feet. And then lift your heart, gaze, thighs. We're going to be all in different places. And I certainly take great care of my back. So I'm going to pace myself today. So some of us have stories with our back. Come into your variation of Dhanurasan. Ardha Dhanurasan, which is one side and then the other side. If you are going into Dhanurasan with both feet, lift your heart, lift your knees, lift your gaze. Breathing here means you will be gently rocking. Bow pose. When we're ready, yogis, having done both sides, if we're choosing to do half side each, let's lower everything back down to the earth. Press into our hands and forearms. Come back into child's pose. Knees can be wide all together. Move very slowly here. Your arms can be reaching forward or alongside your body, palms face up. Release the back here. Connecting with all of the things in your consciousness that you wish to raise up to the surface. Not so that you can harm yourself or harm others, but so that you can begin to identify, name, process, and work through those long-held stories, patterns, histories that we are wishing to let go of, wishing to change, to release through a process of compassion, kindness, honesty, truthfulness, so that we don't deny and look away, but nor do we ruminate and absorb into these emotions as if they are who we are rather than a part or an aspect. Inhale to lift your gaze. Come back onto all fours here. Take a moment here. Let's just do some circles of the hips. Churning here. I'm getting some demonstrations from Piero. And one more rounding through. We're going to circle backwards and forwards. So you can see I'm doing quite a lot of movement here. So do all this churning, moving of the spine. So we're really churning. So the Swadhisthana, so the Muladhara is where the consciousness, the unconscious is. The Swadhisthana is where subconscious is. And the Manipur is where consciousness is. And so we draw from the unconscious through the subconscious into consciousness. And then when it reaches the heart is where we begin to see unfolding and unfurling of the lotus petals. This is where the opening takes place in the heart space. And then it rises into the throat space, the Vishuddha chakra, for expression, for release, for manifestation. So this deeply held knowledge that we have, these experiences that we have, the stories that we have are held in our Muladhara and then rise up to be released. Let's tuck the toes, Lift the tailbone and come into Padmatasana, mountain pose. Pedal here, your feet. Let's lift the right foot and let's circle the right knee. So lift the right foot off the earth, bend into the knee and circle with that knee so that the circles get larger and move into your hip. And then we're going to step forward with that right foot all the way to the outside of the right hand. So the right foot outside of the right hand. And here, let's flow a little bit. So lifting with our tailbones, just lowering with our hips and pelvis, and then lifting it just slowly. And then reach up with the right fingers up to the sky. Bring your thumb and index to touch. Thumb and middle finger to touch, sorry, in Akashaya Namaha. Lift your heart, turn your gaze up so you have a turning at the throat here, at the neck. Exhale, right hand down to the earth. Let's turn all the way over. So let's bend into the right knee, extend the left leg long. We're not here for long. Let's walk over, bend into the left knee, extend the right leg. Turn around, pivot on that ball so that our hands are on the inside of the left foot here. And again, let's lift and lower our hips and pelvis here. Remember, your hands can be on a chair or a footstool. You can always bring your right knee down. Open up with the left fingers up to the sky. Turn your gaze. The side twist here. One more breath. Exhale, left hand to the earth. Turn again to the center. Turn both feet forward along the length of your mat. Hands are either reaching to the earth or resting on blocks or on furniture. Take a moment here in Prasarita Padottanasana, wide-legged stance. Tuck your chin in here slightly. Your head is hanging down towards the earth. Jalandhar Bandh is engaged here. One more breath. And then let's just sway from left to right here. Maybe you do some movements with your hips. We're just creating some churning actions today. So play here, manifest and express yourself in this movement as you wish. And then let's turn back towards the right, pivot on the foot, back to where we were when we started. But this time, let's take the right hand to the outside of the right foot, drop the left knee. You can keep the toes untucked or you may untuck them here. Inhale to rise up. Bring your hands in front of your throat. Interlace all your fingers, release your middle fingers. Matangi Mudra. Inhale to reach up. Lift your gaze. One breath here in Anjaneyasana with Matangi Mudra. Open your throat. Chant your mantra. Either I speak truth with authenticity and clarity. I listen deeply with compassion. I seek to communicate with others in a way that is loving and truthful. Or you can chant our mantra, Om Ham Akashaya Namaha. Om Ham Akashaya Namaha. Exhale, hands to the earth. Take that right foot toes towards the sky, right leg extended, Ardha Hanumanasana. Tuck in the chin here, Jalandhar Bandh. Lift the chin, take a breath in. Hold the breath in, tuck the chin, Jalandhar Bandh, the lock. This time, release the breath when you lift the chin. Hold the breath out. Tuck the chin, Jalandhar Bandh. Now let's slide that right foot back. So our knees are together again. We're going to move into Australasin, Camel Pose. Again, remember here, cushion your knees, pad the earth below you. You can tuck your toes or have your toes untucked. Let's come into Matangi Mudra first. Fingers interlaced, middle extended, reach up. Exhale over to the left. Inhale to center, exhale over to the right. Inhale to center, let's go one more time, left and right. Back to center, bring your hands back in front of your throat. Now, yogis, your choice here. You can do Ardha Ustrasana, or you can reach both arms back. So make a choice about where you're going, but wherever you are, let's make sure we are always supporting our lower back. So if you are going to go into reaching behind for your feet with both hands, really engage your core here. Squeeze the Mula Bandh, squeeze the Uddiyana Bandh. So Mula Bandh squeezing at the pelvic, Uddiyana Bandh is knitting in the ribs, drawing in the navel, really engaging through the core here. Hands resting on your lower back for the moment. When you're ready, you can reach back towards one heel and keep that left hand supporting you. So I'm starting with the right. So you have your options. Draw your shoulder blades together, open across the sternum. So really lift the sternum, broaden across the shoulders and the collarbones. Here at the front, at the back, your shoulder blades are drawn together. So you'll either be in one hand reaching back, or you can move it directly into both hands reaching back, seeing how you feel. If you want to swap and you're doing half variations like me today, reach back with the other arm. Again, check what's happening with the rest of your body. Engage the core, the midline. Broaden across the shoulder blades at the front. Broaden across the collarbones and draw in the shoulder blades. I'm going to be asking you to do the opposite thing to what I want you to do. Chin can be slightly lifted here or tucked in a little bit more to protect the head. When you're ready, let's return back to normal. So support your lower back. I move very slowly here with care in order to honor my spine. Hands to the earth. We're going to move into Shashandasana, hair pose. Crown comes down towards the earth. I'm not resting my crown fully on the earth. I'm simply connecting gently with the earth. Tuck your toes. Now you can keep both hands here to scaffold you, or you can take your hands and wrap them around your heels. Again, make sure that the top of your head, the crown, where your fontanelle would be, is softly connected. We're not dumping any weight at all into our head. Here you can feel a broadening across the lower back. Space, breathe into the lower back. Perhaps you connect with a Brahmari breath here. Inhale through your nose, exhale Brahmari, honeybee breath. Hands back to scaffold your head. Inhale, rise up into table. Let's step forward with the left foot. Keep the right knee on the earth. I bet you're enjoying that there's no Surya Namaskar today. Inhale, hands come into Matangi Mudra. Reach up, Dhanurasan with Matangi Mudra. So reaching up, your gaze can be parallel to the horizon, or it can be gazing up towards the sky. So when we think about our consciousness, and when we think about what it is that's at the bottom of the ocean, and what we want to stir up. So here at the bottom of the ocean is treasure, jewels, pearls, gold, silver, all the treasures of the world at the bottom of the ocean, buried deep in our unconscious. And as we begin to stir up and churn through our practice of yoga, we begin to disturb the sediment so that these treasures can rise up. But also deep buried there are our traumas, our histories and herstories, the residual, repetitive, habitual patterns, thinking, the shadows, the poisons. We don't want to keep them swallowed. Nor do we want to spit them out. We want to work through them, identify, name them, and process them so that we may heal, we may restore. One more breath here in Dhanurasan. Exhale, hands come down to the earth. Reach back with your tailbone, lift the toes up towards the sky. Ardha Hanumanasana. Tuck your chin in Jaladhar Bandha for a moment. Doesn't matter whether the breath is in or out. Now lift your gaze, take a full breath in. Now tuck your chin, Jalandhar Bandha, locking the breath in. Inhale, lift your gaze, exhale completely. Hold the breath out, tuck your chin, Jalandhar Bandha. So I also have my Mula Bandha and my Uddiyana Bandha engaged for those of you who are seasoned yogis. But for the moment, we're really focusing on the Jalandhar Bandha. And then let's bring that left foot back. We're going to step back with that foot underneath us. Take a moment here, circle all the way. Walk your hands forward. Bend, reach forward so you come into half plank. Ardha Halasana. Take a moment here in Ardha Halasana. Now, for those yogis who wish, you can tuck your toes and come into Halasana if you want. If you choose. Take a moment here. We're going to move into Ashtanga again, the 8-limbed pose. So if your knees are lifted, lower them. Bend into your elbows, lower your heart and your chin towards the earth. Ashtanga. You can always tuck your toes here. That's an option as well. Or you can have your toes flattened yogis. See how it feels for you. Take a moment. Now bend into your knees and lift your toes here. So see how this feels here. So you're in Ashtanga Asana, knees are connected with the earth, heart and chin, hands. Lift your toes, bending into your knees. See how this feels for you. If this feels comfortable, maybe you lift a right knee and place it over onto your left heel. Otherwise, stay with both knees on the earth. And then let's go over to the left knee. Lift the left knee and place it on the right heel. And then lower to the earth. Release everything onto the earth. Come onto your right ear, arms alongside you. Let's do Brahmari breath here. Inhale through your nose. Exhale, Brahmari. Turn your ear. Let's do Brahmari on the other side. And when you're ready, yogis, let's roll over. So we're lying on our backs. Move slowly here. And get comfortable. Bend into your knees, feet flat on the earth. Tuck your chin ever so slightly so the back of your neck feels long. Think about the amrita, this nectar, sweetness of this nectar of divine wisdom, of immortality. And when we talk about immortality, we're talking about the immortality of the soul. Moving into Setu Bandhasan bridge pose. So bring your heels up towards your hands so that you can tickle the back of your heels with your fingers. Imagine you have a block between your thighs. You could even place an actual block between your thighs if you wish. Tuck your chin. Draw your navel towards your spine. Lower the lower back into the earth so that your pelvic bowl begins to tilt up. Keep that motion going, so as if you're peeling and rolling up your spine, so that you come onto your shoulders, your upper back, knees drawing in together, thighs drawing in together towards the midline, core is still engaged, hips and pelvis rising up from the ocean here. Chin, you can see here how your chest rises up towards your chin so that your chin comes into a lock with your throat. You can have your hands alongside your abdomen so that you're scaffolding yourself with your forearms. You can interlace your hands underneath your back. Release your index finger into Matangi Mudra and walk your shoulder blades in towards each other. Setu Bandhasan here. Keep looking up. Engaging all of the hug muscles by hugging them in towards your bones, and as if you're drawing to the midline here towards the center. So both halves of your body are coming towards the middle. Meanwhile, if you have Matangi Mudra, reach through the middle fingers. One more here. Then exhale to lower very slowly to the earth. Take a moment here. Let's hug all the knees in towards the heart. Move slowly. And then tuck your chin in, lift your eyebrow center towards your knees. Halasana, wind relieving pose. And release your head. Now, yogis, options for you are shoulder stand, Shavasana, if you are a practiced yogi. Salamba Shavasana, supported shoulder stand, or Vipariti Karani, legs up the wall. So we're doing legs up the wall here. Come up towards the wall, as close as you can get to the wall with your side body. And then reach your legs up, and with your hand that's closest to the wall, you can turn your body, pivoting it away from the wall, so that your legs come up on the wall here. So my sit bones are really as close to the wall as I can get them. If you're not near a wall here, you can always just lift your legs directly in the air. If you want, you can place a cushion or a block underneath your sit bones, underneath your, where your sacrum is, and then lift your legs up. Or a bolster, so I'm using my flat block here. You might choose to use folded blankets or cushions or a bolster. Keep your chin tucked in towards your throat here. So if you use the higher the tool you use, if you're using a bolster, that will take you into Salamba Shavasana. That will be a supported shoulder stand. I don't have my bolster handy at the moment. Options for shoulder stand. Hug in your knees towards you. Bring them in towards your eyebrow center, keeping your arms on the earth to support you, and then immediately bring your hands and use the heels of your hands almost to hold the weight of your hips and pelvis here. So you're supporting your lower back here, the sacrum, the heaviest part of you. And then you can reach up with one leg. You can reach up with both legs. Walk your hands down your back towards your shoulder blades. Keep gazing up towards your feet. Chin is tucked here. Only move into shoulder stand, Shavasana, if you have many years of practice and you've had lots of guidance in class with the teacher close at hand. You also can keep your hips, pelvis quite low. So I'm continuing to support my hips and pelvis here, my sacrum, the heaviest part of me, with my arms acting as a scaffold. Now, for those of you who are in shoulder stand or in Shavasana, you can begin to lower your toes to the earth behind you to come into Halasana, plow pose. Keep supporting your lower back if your toes do not connect with either the earth or a bolster or a bit of furniture behind you. So this is great to do near a sofa, because your toes can rest on your sofa or your bed. But move with care through Shavasana and Halasana. If your feet connect with the earth, you can release your hands and bring your hands into Matangi Mudra. So remember, we're going to be all in different places. But we're all having the similar experience in our body. And when you move out of Halasana, support your lower back, bend into your knees perhaps, and then bring them back towards your eyebrow center. Then reach your toes up, moving through shoulder stand or half shoulder stand before lowering to the earth. Maintain your core, engage your core, always supporting yourself, your lower back, uncurling your spine. Some people like to bring their knees in towards the eyebrow center before uncurling their spine. Some people like to keep their legs relatively straight and core engaged as they lower to the earth. You find what supports you the most. But I recommend that you do not practice Shavasana or Halasana unless you have lots of years of practice and you have been guided by a teacher in person, in real life. And when you're ready, everyone, wherever you are, whether you've moved from shoulder stand to Vipariti Karani or Shavasana and coming back down to the earth, we're going to take a Matsyasana, fish pose, before we close our practice. Bend into your knees. You can do a supported fish pose. If you're doing a supported fish pose, get some cushions and place them underneath your shoulders and your back. I'll show you that in a moment. If you're moving into Matsyasana, bend into your knees, place your hands, palms face down, underneath your hips and pelvis where your sacrum is. And then extend your legs long. Come up onto your forearms, walk your elbows in, your chin is tucked here. And then you can release your crown back down towards the earth, which opens your throat. So your heart is domed. You are using your forearms for a scaffold. Your feet can be connected on the earth, or you can lift your legs up here. If you're going into supported, You can always use a bolster or a pillow that's slightly raised at one end. And then you have your upper body resting on your pillow or your cushion. And again, you'll notice here how the throat opens. So this is Salamba Matsyasana, supported fish pose. Wherever you are, remember if you've just come into the supported, I invite you to stay here before moving into Shavasana. If you're in unsupported variation of Matsyasana, going to move with care. So remember now, your heaviest part of your body is your head. So let's tuck the chin in first and then lower to the earth. And I invite you to stay in your Shavasana for at least 5 minutes. And then when you are ready to rise, I want you to close your practice by chanting your mantra, either in your home language or in Sanskrit. Om Ham Akashaya Namaha. Om Ham Akashaya Namaha. Om Ham Akashaya Namaha. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Repose in Shavasana for as long as you are able to this morning, today, now. Dhanyavad.